Before this video starts, I'd just like to make an announcement. I have the Liberal Tears mug for $14.99 on my website. It is the first link in the description if you want to go pick one up. Don't worry if it breaks when it comes to your house. I'll send you another one for free out of my pocket. I don't care. I want you to get your Liberal Tear mug. It comes in Liberal Tears white with the face, black with the face, white without the face, and black without the face. So pick whichever one you want, and it'll come to your door in about 3 to 5 days. So that should be epic. First link in the description. Thank you. Let's go on with the video.
One thing we did not talk about, and I've been talking about everywhere it seems like, was the sort of the aftermath, the election, all this business. And people are saying, what do I tell my kids? What do I tell my kids? Like, what do you tell your kids? What do you tell your kids? You tell your kids that if you're upset, if you're having an emotional reaction, that's what your kids are reacting to you. So calm down, number one. Number two, tell the kids that everything's going to be okay. They're safe. And number three,
I wouldn't even
teach. I know.
What are you talking about?
No, I know. Number three, the chance to talk about how democracy works with your kids, and then how then if you don't like something, you get involved in the practice of democracy. That's how it works.
We're a colossal gunny sack filled with moist pussettes. That's all we are.
Doucherettes?
Well,
pussettes and doucherettes.
It's so fucking funny. It's like, what do I tell my child? I don't know. What did my dad?
Doucherette gum. There it is.
Thank you.
Look at that.
Don't do that, Gary.
Sorry.
It'll get Drew.
It'll
get Drew going.
Yeah.
Yes. What did my dad sit down and tell me when Gerald Ford was elected?
Or how about when Nixon resigned?
Whatever.
We really were in
like,
trouble then.
I don't know. Who cares? We didn't have a discussion about it. I was 10. I didn't give a shit.
Or even if you did, your parents wouldn't talk to you about it.
No. And it's such a douche. It's such a colossal douche move that it's unbelievable. And the douche part of it is, I can't believe, especially males, are wearing this on their fucking sleeve. This sort of, how do I talk to my daughter? I have a daughter. I have to look into her eyes. You know what, I've said to my kids, my son said I would have voted for Gary Johnson. That's what my son said. It's sort of a joke. And all I've said to them is Mr. Mike, who's a guy in the neighborhood who's a big Trump fan. I said, well, Mr. Mike's happy. And they go, I bet he is.
Yeah.
And that's about as far as it got. And that's all they give a shit about. Now, if mama's got a tumor, that's a conversation. And if there's a divorce, that's a conversation. And if Philly cheesesteak needs to go to the happy hunting ground, that's a conversation. Politics, not a conversation. Your job is to provide stability, look after your children, and whatever it is you think this administration or that administration is going to do to you, make it your business to make your family administration proof.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You work hard. You always have food in the cabinets and on the table. You make sure you're up and sober and driving them to school and picking them up on time.
Of course.
You get them involved with their after-school sports and activities. You do their homework with them. And then they're administration proof.
Yeah.
The funny thing is Aaron Sorkin last week wrote a letter to his daughter. When I invite somebody into my home.
Aaron Sorkin, by the way, who dates young women, right? Doesn't
children.
He date really young
Maybe he's talking to one of his gal pals.
Okay.
I don't know, but he had to write a letter to his daughter.
Right.
Now, first off, I claim plagiarism because in the letter to his daughter, he used the term douche nozzle.
He did not.
He did.
He did not.
Drew knows that's mine.
That's ours. Us. That's ours. I'll fight you for that.
How dare you?
Because I remember I was the one that
you
said,
own nothing.
No, wait a second. You said douche nozzle, but I was the one that said, why do we always talk about the douche bag? That's the least disgusting part of the douche.
Let's rewind to the part where I said douche nozzle.
You did come up with douche nozzle, but I was the one that prompted you to cause said douche nozzle
I
reaction.
used to say things that people used to try to get me to pick up and run with, but I never did. to the degree, like, I was never sort of a comedian that would go, get her done. I didn't have a catchphrase.
Yeah.
I used to say, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And people would always kind of say it back to me, like trying to get me to say it again. And then I'd get tired of saying it. I wouldn't do it. But I used to call everyone douche nozzles.
Yeah.
And I would talk about why douche nozzles much more effective than calling someone a douchebag.
Oh, for sure.
And this is quite some time ago. Maybe Sorkin picked it up. Yeah. I don't know if you have that letter, but it is fucking precious.
And you want to just read that portion, or you want me to read the whole?
You can read the whole thing, but all I'm saying is wait a minute.
What?
Did he write the social network?
Yep.
I love that. I love that script.
I'm a Aaron Sorkin apologist. I love pretty much everything.
I do too.
I love everything he does too. But this is the douchiest thing ever, and I guess we can separate the.
I appreciate him as an
douche.
artist.
Yeah.
Well, Woody Allen's dating Sunya.
Right.
Okay.
Sorkin girls. Well, the world changed late last night in a way I couldn't protect us from. That's a terrible feeling.
Already douchey.
That's a terrible feeling for a father. I won't sugarcoat it. This is truly horrible. It's hardly the first time my candidate didn't win. In fact, it's the 6th. But it's the first time that a thoroughly incompetent pig with dangerous ideas, a serious psychiatric disorder, no knowledge of the world, and no curiosity to learn has. And it wasn't just Donald Trump who won last night. It was his supporters, too. The Klan won last night. White nationalists. Sexist, racist, and buffoons.
Hold on a second. Does anyone find the crazy hubris in we elected a black president 8 years ago, and then we re-elected him 4 years after that for a second term?
Yeah.
Now, because we can't elect him to a third term, which we would,
Yeah.
we ended up getting a guy with red hair, and the whole country's been thrown into one big Klan rally?
Yeah, it's weird.
You fuckers have that kind of hubris where you're just going to announce with this big, broad, sweeping stroke, this is a racist nation. We got a black guy. What color's the president today? Right now?
Yeah.
He's a black guy. We sent the orange guy to the black guy's White House the other week so we could give him a tour and talk to him. We have a black president who's on his second term or finishing his second term that was elected by a majority of white citizens. We're now just turned into a big. This is, and by the way, all these CNN pundits who are just sitting around with their, this is backlash for white, for black, whatever. The backlash for the second term, he would make it a third. He would win a third. Obama would win a third term. Hillary did get the most votes.
And I think that not quite, but close.
We'll know if it changes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But theoretically,
she got a lot.
this nation has all joined the Klan. Well, we're taping this in advance, but as last I checked, she had more popular votes. She didn't win the Electoral College, but either way,
yes, my daughter started a campaign to try to end the Electoral College.
We've all turned to we've all joined the Klan after doing 8 years of the black president. I find that a little insulting, considering whatever progress we thought we made is all now. All right, but here's what I'm saying. It must be black or it must be a woman every single time, otherwise there's racist underpinnings. Or maybe we just don't like the job that was being done globally by our government over the last 8 years plus. Maybe we just don't, maybe we think it's getting a little out of hand. Maybe some guy went up there and said, I'm going to upset the apple cart. And maybe there wasn't a whole bunch of emails from big corporations that they were getting big fat paydays from lots of countries that we put on our terrorist watch list. Maybe we just got tired of that. Ever think of that? Or is it all just everyone's racist? Okay, anyway.
Angry young white men who think rap music and Cinco de Mayo are a threat to their way of life, or are the reason for their way of life, have been given cause to celebrate. Men who have no right to call themselves that and who think that women who aspire to more than looking hot are shrill, ugly, and otherwise worthy of our scorn rather than our admiration struck a blow for misogynistic shitheads everywhere. Hate was given hope. Abject dumbness was glamorized as being the fresh voice from an outsider who's going to shake things up. Did anyone bother to ask how? Is he going to rearrange the chairs in the Roosevelt room? For the next 4 years, the President of the United States, the same office held by Washington and Jefferson.
Well, he uses douche nozzle at some point, which I like.
Well, jump to
It's
the douche
further
nozzle.
down.
Jump to
I
it.
jumped to douche nozzle.
Let's see here. Roxy, I know my predictions have let you down in the past, but personally, I don't think this guy can make it a year without committing an impeachable crime. If he does manage to be a douche nozzle without
Destroying email?
There's the douche nozzle.
Okay, sorry. Go
If
ahead.
he does manage to be a douche nozzle without breaking the law for 4 years, we'll make it through those 4 years. And 3 years from now, we'll fight like hell for our candidate, and we'll win, and they'll lose, and this time they'll lose for good. Honey, it'll be your first vote. And it goes on.
All right.
All right.
Here's the. Also, hey, it's been 8 years. That's not too shabby. You know what I mean? Do you just have to win every single election? Otherwise, it's some sort of Klan-inspired.
I mean, to be fair,
thing?
they're responding to some of the way he talks as compared to the way we've learned to talk. I think that's really it.
I know, but first off, all of this, he's racist because of some of the things he said could be pinned to anybody, including Hillary Clinton, if you had tape of it. That's for goddamn sure.
But they had tape of him saying some pretty horrible stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
so what?
yeah.
We got
I think this was
testimony of Clinton doing horrible stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's what it boiled down to. And people were wanting a big change. They are not happy with things.
No, they didn't want 8. They didn't want 8 years of this. They didn't want another 4 of the last 8. That's what that people want to change.
Yeah.
And a certain fraction of the people that want to change are racist. A very, very small fraction of those people are racist. But let's not spin this like the Klan got together and voted in a guy.
Well, I think what's interesting is they were all like, if Trump's people lose, they'll be rioting in the street. They're really talking about themselves because when they lost, they're rioting. You know what I mean? It's like, that's so interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, not. It's predictable. Is what I was my thought. But it's the thing that drives me nuts is the group that is constantly telling everybody to just be colorblind and get along can't walk 10 feet without talking about race. You can't move, can't turn around, can't do anything without rolling out some sort of race component to anything. All the time, everywhere. But yet, you'd like to live in a world where people are just colorblind and got along and we focused on the content of the character and not the color of the skin. You can't move 5 feet without bringing it up. That's the part that I find hypocritical, and I wonder if you ever really want to take a look at that part of your component, that part of your structure as a human being. And I don't assume anything based on race or ethnicity or I never, because of somebody's sexual proclivities or whatever it is. It's such a zero part of my decision-making process. And it's such a bizarre label to hang.
You grew up with privilege
on people. Yeah, I grew up with privilege. I made a sports movie with the gayest director on the planet because I thought he'd be good at a component. He wasn't good at sports. He didn't know anything about sports, but I thought he'd be good at directing for parts of the movie that I thought we had shortcomings in and weaknesses in. So when I made my boxing movie, The Hammer, I did it with Charles Herman Wormfeld, who is as gay as guys get, but knew it going in. Not an issue because we're not dating. We're working. Not anymore.
If you were dating, it'd be a good idea. You've got to be gay.
We're making a movie.
It'd be more fun that way.
Charles and I got along great.
Yeah.
And his sexual proclivities were neither here nor there when it came to making this movie. Had black guys and Hispanic guys in it. Again, neither here nor there. Just looking to make the best product we can make. But I'm xenophobic, homophobic, and racist. That's awesome. By the way, these people have no idea what they're doing, which is by calling everyone racist all the time, first off, you lost an election. I believe. I believe that people just got tired of it.
Well, you know,
what? Fuck you. I'm not racist. I'm a hardworking whatever.
Well, I talked to an interesting
analyst
who was saying that the white middle class has been told that they're insignificant, marginalized, privileged. You can't value their point of view because it's built on privilege, and you are not privileged to be a part of the economic growth either. They can feel that, so they're marginalized. That's a minority. They're treated like a minority, and so they start to behave like a minority. They vote as a bloc. They get angry.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, isn't it? So they become a minority group. I think in that, though, is an opportunity because minority groups can form coalitions. So I'm hoping that if they keep that behavior going, that we get some coalition building amongst different minorities and let the white male be a minority. Fine. Let's get a coalition going.
Well, the other thing that was great about it as well is in terms of message being sent. And I think there's a difference. I think there's a group of people that like Donald Trump, and then there's a group of people that like the message. Yeah. I like the message, which is CNN and New York Times. You don't get to dictate outcomes. You don't get to, and you don't get to. If you provide questions in advance, or if you try to, whether you're the DNC and you're trying to squeeze Bernie out, or you're CNN and you're doing 90 negative Trump stories to every one negative Hillary story, you don't get to affect things anymore. We got the internet. New York Times, no one gives a shit about you. We got the internet. We don't need. You can't. It ain't. You ain't Hearst. You ain't William Randolph Hearst. You can't affect things anymore. You know, we're talking about, the media. Doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't seem to matter anymore, does it?
Well, I think in some respects it was a reaction to that because people were like, well, that's not really how I'm feeling, so I'm not going to let you tell me how to feel. If you're having an emotional reaction, that's what your kids are reacting to you. So calm down, number one. Number two, tell the kids that everything's going to be okay. They're safe. And number three,
I wouldn't even
teach. I know.
What are you talking about?
No, I know. Number three, the chance to talk about how democracy works with your kids, and then how then if you don't like something, you get involved in the practice of democracy. That's how it works.
Before this video starts, I'd just like to make an announcement. I have the Liberal Tears mug for $14.99 on my website. It is the first link in the description if you want to go pick one up. Don't worry if it breaks when it comes to your house. I'll send you another one for free out of my pocket. I don't care. I want you to get your Liberal Tear mug. It comes in Liberal Tears white with the face, black with the face, white without the face, and black without the face. So pick whichever one you want, and it'll come.
Yes. What did my dad sit down and tell me when Gerald Ford was elected?
Or how about when Nixon resigned?
Whatever.
We really were in trouble then.
I don't know. Who cares? We didn't have a discussion about it. I was 10. I didn't give a shit.
Or even if you did, your parents wouldn't talk to you about it.
No. And it's such a douche, colossal gunny sack filled with moist pussettes. That's all we are.
Doucherettes?
Well,
pussettes and doucherettes.
It's so fucking funny. It's like, what do I tell my child? I don't know. What did my dad?
Doucherette gum. There it is.
Thank you.
Look at that.
Don't do that, Gary.
Sorry.
It'll get Drew.
Yeah,
It'll get Drew going.
Come to your door in about 3 to 5 days. So that should be epic. First link in the description. Thank you. Let's go on with the video.
One thing we did not talk about, and I've been talking about everywhere, it seems like, was the sort of the aftermath, the election, all this business. And people are saying, what do I tell my kids? What do I tell my kids? Like, what do you tell your kids? What do you tell your kids? You tell your kids that if you're upset